Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome to Bangers. If you've clicked on this, you know we're going to be talking about cupcakes today, which brings me to, do you want to see my cupcakes? Okay, so the first recipe that I want to talk about is a blueberry cupcake by Main Vapes. Let me just share the screen so that you guys can check it out. This recipe is called Blue Iced Cupcake by Main Vapes. Of course, Main Vapes is saying that this recipe still needs a little bit of work. This is something I was craving for in this week, something that I'm really a fan with from, just normal eating perspective. So yeah, I was down to give this a whirl and talk about it and see, I'm actually looking for a little bit of inspiration myself. And this is a recipe that was appealing to me. So yeah, Main Vapes, let's check it out. The description goes, by far my favorite recipe I have conceived. It's beautiful. A true blueberry cupcake with a light, not overly sweet blueberry cream cheese drizzle on top. The cap vanilla cupcake and sugar cookie give a good cupcake, but isn't moist. A little flavor waste yellow cake added. What is missing? For the blueberry, went with cap blueberry jam and TFA blueberry extra. First mix, the blueberry is out there and strong, but after weeks deep, the best baked blueberry ever. Top it off with LA cream cheese icing and TFA marshmallow mix. Marshmallow mix with a blueberry for a light fluffy blueberry cream cheese icing. Only reason this is still in progress is I want to try it with a JF yellow cake. Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is delicious. So I have to split this up in layers. Main Babes also talks about it in layers. But let's look at the cupcake layer over here, which, this has been changed. So he talks about initially using the cap vanilla cupcake in here, but the recipe now has TFA vanilla cupcake in it. And he uses that with cap sugar cookie to create, the cupcake layer. So there's another one that you can try out. This is a delicious cupcake. However, it leans slightly more towards a cookie. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. I like the addition of butter in here as well in this cupcake. I think this cupcake needs a little bit of butter, or any cupcake for that matter. So TFA butter is a good addition here and some progress. So well done, Main Vapes, for that layer. I think you can try FLV out here. Maybe try lowering the cap sugar cookie, and maybe just try swap it up with FLV if you weren't happy with cap, because I like the cap vanilla cupcake. It's my favorite. TFA vanilla cupcake, I find that the cake is just not powerful enough. He speaks about using a flavor waste yellow cake, but now he wants to try it with JF yellow cake. Yeah, once you add that in there, drop the sugar cookie, I think you're gonna have a banging cupcake, because literally a cake and a cupcake is exactly the same thing. It's just the icing on top, that you can really make sweet for a cupcake. What Main Vapes went for over here is blueberry. So he used a blueberry extra and blueberry wild. That's a delicious combo. Or you can use blueberry extra with flavor waste blueberry, also a good combination. But I really think the magic is here for me, that blueberry extra and blueberry wild, plus the cream cheese icing, is just giving you the most delicious sweet blueberry icing, cream cheese icing out there. I really like this layer. This is 100% progress for me. I might actually steal this, so if I do, I will link Main Vapes in here to the recipe that I want to create. TFA marshmallow, just to fluff it out a little bit, make that cream cheese, just give it a little bit more volume, from a mouthfeel perspective, and make it a little bit more fluffy. And yeah, ultimately, I feel this is a successful recipe. Definitely well conceived. You can be a super proud dad, Main Vapes. This is a beautiful child. I'm glad you conceived it. Anyway, I'm going to give this a tip of me banger, because I think there's still a slight room for improvement on the actual cupcake layer. And he also speaks about using JF Yellow Cupcake, or Flavor West, of course, Flavor West being a little bit more dangerous to use, the yellow cake. So he wants to go with JF Yellow Cake. So do that. Complete this recipe. I want to challenge you to do that, because this is a beautiful profile, and you would think that a lot of people go for it, but they don't. So yeah, guys. Tip of me banger. Well done, Main Vapes.
And hello to everybody in the chat. I've got two mixes tonight that I'm going to talk about. I'll go on to the first mix, and then once I've gone through that, obviously, then I'll go on to the second mix. The first mix that I've got is Daytime Frank's Butterscotch Krimpet on ELR. Now the recipe is as follows. It's Wonder Flavors Super Concentrate Buttercream Frosting at 1.5%, Flavora Butterscotch at 1%, Capella Golden Butter at 0.5%, TFA Vanilla Cupcake at 3%. Now, I was having a look for cupcake recipes for this bangers episode, and come across this mix from Daytime Frank. Now, I've never actually had a Butterscotch Krimpet, so I'm not 100% sure if this is on profile, but you'll see what I think of it from when I go through my notes. Now, Frank's notes actually read as, after a few tries, I finally nailed this down. This is dead on to a Butterscotch Krimpet. This is good off the shake and just gets better with time. Now, for me, when I'm vaping it, off a shake and vape on a Wasp Nano at 0.34 ohms with a Flapton coil, NI80. What I get first is that sweet vanilla cupcake. This is then followed by the butterscotch and then the frosting, which gives you the impression of more of a butterscotch buttercream filling as opposed to the frosting. Now, I'm not going to be nitpicking at all over that, because getting those to come through first would actually be quite difficult, especially with a heavier flavouring like the vanilla cupcake. Now, as you vape this, that butterscotch vanilla frosting actually comes through a lot more. So it does actually end up flipping a little bit to become more of a frosting as opposed to a filling the longer you vape it. Now, the golden butter actually adds a little bit of richness and a little bit of moistness to that TFA vanilla cupcake, giving you a nice rich cupcake, nice rich moist cupcake taste. Whilst it also provides a little separation between the layers, so they don't all merge into one. You do actually taste them all as their own separate taste, apart from obviously the butterscotch merges with the vanilla frosting, but the golden butter does help to separate that from the actual cupcake itself, so it doesn't all all roll into one taste. Now, this is actually this is very good mix. Really enjoyed vaping this. Now, I'm getting a slightly grainy mouthfeel from the Cupcake, and the frosting like a sugary grain, like you get from if you had to actually take a spoonful of buttercream frosting. You'd get that sweetness, then you'd actually get that slightly grainy texture. Now that's what I get from the Cupcake. From a little bit of the TFA Cupcake, which is a little bit grainy on its own, because it's more of a sweet cupcake with quite a lot of frosting. And then the Wonder Flavors buttercream frosting has also got that graininess to it when you try a standalone. The only thing I don't get from this mix is a cake mouthfeel. Now, what I mean by the cake mouthfeel, you know, when you bite into a cupcake, you'll actually get all that, all the little bits of cake just falling apart in your mouth, giving you that little bit of texture. I don't actually get that from this mix. Now, I'm due to missing that that mouthfeel, that cupcake mouthfeel. I actually give this. I'm quite happy to give this mix just the tip of the banger. It's not quite a full banger to me because of that missing mouthfeel, but it is a very nice mix, and it is definitely worth searching it on ELR and possibly ATF as well. I'm not too sure if Daytime Frank has put it on there, but it is definitely worth searching this out and mixing it up if you do like cupcakes. And if you've actually had the an actual Butterscotch Krimpet in real life, then I'm sure Frank would very much value your opinion on his mix, so he knows how realistic he's actually got with this.
Cupcakes, yay! Who doesn't like a nice cupcake bakery treat every now and then, right? So, for my two cupcake recipes, I chose two recipes that are very different. The one thing they do have in common is that they both base their cupcake base flavor on Vanilla Cupcake V2. The first one I chose was the New York style cheesecake cupcake by user Core Vape at ATF. Let's just go through the recipe quickly. The cupcake base is 2% FW yellow cake along with 1% Vanilla Cupcake V2. Then what he calls the accent, I would actually call a filling. And that consists of 4% New York Cheesecake, 1% TFA sweet cream, 1.5% vanilla whipped cream, and 1% of TFA cheesecake graham crust. And then the frosting topping for the cupcake is 1.5% of Loran's cream cheese icing, and then the whole thing is rounded out by 1% of Flavor West sweetener. Straight off the bat, this had the most delicious aroma. As I was decanting it from the mixing bottle into my dropper bottle, this smelled exactly like a bakery vape that I will enjoy. It's light, sweet, it's got that light sort of golden baked aroma to it. And true to form, this is exactly how the vape turned out as well. I was initially a little bit skeptical. I thought with all that cheesecake in the mix that it was going to register more as a cheesecake than a cupcake. But what it comes across to me as is a cupcake shell with a cheesecake filling filling kind of in the middle of it, and then with a big thick layer of lovely vanilla, soft, sweet frosting on top of it. It does register absolutely as a cupcake. It's got that solid but still very light, sweet, that sort of bready texture that cupcakes have, but also with that lovely creaminess of the filling, and then the additional sweet creaminess of the frosting on top of it. All of the elements are balanced very well. There is that slight tang from the cheesecake, but it's not nearly as prominent as I thought it would be. It does come across as a cupcake that's been kind of hollowed out and just filled with a little bit of cheesecake filling. So it gives it the accent, it gives it the feeling of, or the nuance of cheesecake in there, but it still registers very much as a light, blonde, golden baked cupcake with that lovely creamy topping and also a creamy filling. So this recipe works really well for me. It's tasty, it's subtle. The cheesecake is laid in there subtly. The frosting is also quite subtle. The cupcake base comes through. You're getting that very, very good, prominent feeling of that light golden cupcake texture coming through. So it's well balanced, much better than I thought it would be just at first glance at the recipe. So yeah, no complaints with this one. I can vape this all day. It's light on the palate. It doesn't overwhelm the senses with these really strong flavors. It's a delicate, subtle, gentle bakery flavor, complemented with a really good sweet vanilla creaminess to it. So the whole thing hangs together really nicely for me, and it is what the name says. It's New York style cheesecake cupcake. So if you're into light bakeries, it's not too dark. It's light both in texture and in terms of color. This is not a heavily baked. It's not a very rich browned bakery. It's much lighter than that, and this really hits the spot. So absolutely a tip of the banger from me for New York style cheesecake cupcake by Callback.
Okay, the next recipe I want to talk about is butterscotch. It's a butterscotch cupcake. This recipe is by Exclusive Girl. I've mixed up some of Exclusive Girl's recipes before, and I love them. This is a simple version. So what this really is, it is cap vanilla cupcake plus sugar cookie. That seems to be a good layer, in the cupcake world, or a popular layer in the cupcake world. And then the icing layer, which is simple cream cheese icing 2.5, and then 3% butterscotch ripple. Okay, so Exclusive Girl explains what she did with the layer. So let's look at this popular layer, which is the cupcake layer. I love this layer. It really is nailed really well in this recipe. This acts as the cupcake portion. It's actually not as strong in the mix as I wanting, but it's great where it is right now. I'm not an overpowering bakery flavor, but more of a sweet vanilla cupcake base. Yeah, but I do, in this recipe, it is forward. I can taste the actual cupcake. It's there, and I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the layer I want to talk about a little bit more, is the butterscotch ripple and the cream cheese icing. So 3% butterscotch ripple and 2.5% cream cheese icing. Of course, she loves butterscotch ripple. It's an excellent butterscotch that pairs well with the CCI, and the two together make an excellent frosting. I couldn't detect any off notes from either of these flavors. Doesn't hurt with CCI, is one of my all-time favorite flavors, it's creamy and has that very realistic zing that you get in an actual cream cheese frosting. I could really see using this together again in an ice cream vape down the line. Yeah, so I'm not a big butterscotch fan, so I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I think what really shines for me in this recipe is the cupcake itself. Personally, the cream cheese icing and butterscotch layer, for me, it's definitely what Exclusive Girl is saying there. Definitely is that, but for my personal taste, I don't know if that cheesy zing with the butterscotch, it's just a little bit too powerful for me, and takes away from this delicate cupcake that was created with sugar cookie and vanilla cupcake cap. So yeah, where am I with this recipe? It vapes smooth. It's super rich. It's a super rich vape. If you dig butterscotch, this is going to be so up your alley. If you like, cheesecake, the zing from this cream cheese icing is definitely gonna sit well with you. Excuse me. So that's where I am with this recipe. I want to give a fist bump for that cupcake layer. I'm most certainly going to use that. The only thing for me is that icing is just so rich and so powerful. But that's a personal thing for me because I'm not a huge butterscotch fan. I wanted to try it anyway, though. I wanted to check it out. I know a lot of people that are into butterscotch, and this is probably it's probably a layer that I'll save for them to go and check out because it's just so rich. So thanks again, Exclusive Girl, for doing this mix for us. And yeah, boom. Fist bump from me. Nice work on this one.
Hi, for my second mix, I mixed up Darren_87's custard cream cupcake from ELR. Now the recipe is as follows. It's Capella cake batter at 2%, Flavor Art cookie at 1%, Cupcake World Devon cream at 1%, Capella super sweet at 0.5%, TFA vanilla cupcake at 2%, Capella vanilla custard at 3%, TFA vanillin at 1%. Now, he's actually got in his notes, taste great as a shake and vape, otherwise give it a 4-week steep. Now, from the picture, this is meant to be a cupcake with a little bit of custard tasting frosting with a custard cream biscuit on the top. Now, this is what caught my attention because I love those custard cream biscuits. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with these type of biscuits, cookies, this is what one looks like. As you can see, it's like a baked biscuit, bit like a sugar cookie, I think, and inside is filled with a buttercream, like a buttercream filling that's vanilla custard cream, vanilla custard tasting, with a little bit of that cream-like taste, hence custard cream. Now, moving on to my notes for this, what I get is the cake batter combined with the vanilla cupcake actually gives this a good cupcake taste, though because of the cake batter, it's more like if you've ever pulled any cupcakes out of the oven that haven't been in for quite long enough, or you haven't left cool properly, when you bite into it you get the raw cupcake batter just in the center of it, surrounded by the fully cooked cupcake. This is what I get off this, and I believe it is actually due to that Capella cake batter giving that that raw cupcake batter taste. It still tastes nice, but not quite a cooked cupcake. Now, the FA cookie actually comes after that cupcake taste, giving it a light biscuit-like taste after the cupcake. Now, the taste on that is very similar to the actual biscuit part of a custard cream biscuit. It's not 100% there, but it is similar enough to actually go, oh yeah, this biscuit actually tastes like what it's supposed to. With the Devon cream and the vanilla custard, it actually gives it a light and creamy custard filling. Now, for me, it's actually missing a little bit of that, buttercream, a little bit of that buttercream taste, which would push it into being 100% the filling of these custard cream biscuits. Now, the vanillin actually gives this a little bit of a vanilla boost, making it more of a sweet confectionery type vanilla instead of a spicy vanilla. So he's actually used the perfect vanilla for this profile to actually get that confectionery taste to it, and it also sweetens the mix up. Now, with the 0.5% super sweet as well, this is actually quite a sweet mix. So if you've got a sweet tooth, you'll enjoy it. If you don't use super sweet, I don't think the recipe actually needs the super sweet in there. I think it might have been added just by Darren87's personal preference. So I've noticed a couple of his recipes that I have actually seen, most of them actually do contain super sweet. So I think he actually likes sweet juices, which is why they've actually chosen to put 0.5% of sweetener in this. So if you do mix it up and you don't actually like too sweet juice, I think it'd be perfectly fine to leave that super sweet out. This is very close to the profile he's going for, which is that cupcake with the custard, with that custard frosting and the custard cream biscuit actually on top of the cupcake. It is pretty close to profile, and it is a very nice vape. Like the previous mix, I'd have no hesitation whatsoever to mix this up and vape it again. If I was looking to mix up somebody else's juices just for a little change for a couple of days, I'd probably quite happily go in and make up 100 ml of this and vape it over the course of a couple of days. Now, because it's missing that very slight buttercream grain, so that's funny enough is the exact opposite problem of the previous mix that I had, is because it's missing that very slight buttercream grain. It doesn't get 100% or 95% close to a custard cream, to the custard cream biscuit. I'd say it's 90% to 95, maybe 95% there. So it might seem as if I'm nitpicking a little bit, and I'm really trying not to, because as I've said, this is a good mix, and I would mix it up again. I have been enjoying it, but because it's missing some of that grainy mouthfeel for that buttercream filling on one of these biscuits, and that cupcake is actually coming across as a slightly undercooked cupcake, I'm actually going to give this recipe a just the tip of the banger, as well as a fist bump, because I think he's actually done a really good job. I think yeah, I've said everything. Just going through my notes, sorry, and just trying to make sure I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. And yeah, definitely, if you like cupcakes, you like biscuits, and you're interested in trying a cupcake biscuit hybrid, I definitely definitely give this one a mix. And like always, if you do mix any of the recipes that I've reviewed or any of the other guys have reviewed tonight, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So just drop your thoughts into the comments on the video below, and also make sure that you leave a little bit of feedback for the mixers as well, because us mixers love to hear feedback of anybody that's mixed recipes, just so we know where we're going wrong, or indeed what we're actually doing right. And we love people enjoying our liquids and staying off the cigarettes. Thank you, everyone. Back over to you. Bye.
For my second cupcake recipe, I chose Ichang by 6 Strings 952 on ATF. This is described as a pistachio cupcake. Let's just go through the recipe. The cupcake base is 5% cap vanilla cupcake V2, so much higher cupcake than the previous recipe I reviewed. That is supplemented with 0.2% TFA acetylpyrazine, just to give a little bit of breadiness into that cupcake texture. Then there's the pistachio, the sort of top note flavor of the cupcake, which is 2.5% TFA pistachio. That is complemented by 1% of FA almond, and then the frosting topping is 3% of LA cream cheese icing and 1.5% FA meringue, and then the whole thing rounded out with 0.4% of cap super sweet. Now, straight off the bat, the aroma of this was a lot more, not savory, but a lot less sweet and sort of less fat kid food than the New York style cheesecake by Corvette. This is more a sort of adult, less sweet type of cupcake treat. On the vape, straight away, what struck me again was how well that cupcake texture comes through. Again, just like the previous recipe, you've got that light, bready sort of texture that typifies a cupcake. I was a little bit, well, not worried, but intrigued because of the TFA pistachio, because that is a strange flavor for me. It can take over a mix very quickly. It can push a mix in a very different direction. It can be a very strong flavor and it can dominate. But here it's layered in just perfectly. It just gives that lovely, nutty, pistachio also has that slightly acrid, dry kind of note that it adds into mixes, and that comes through beautifully in this. It just gives a nuance to that cupcake base. You can still taste the cupcake base very, very clearly, but there's just that nuance of pistachio in it. The mix is a little bit darker and perhaps a little bit heavier than the previous one I mixed. I think that's a result of the pistachio and the acetylpyrazine. It does tend to come across as just a little bit more baked. The previous mix was a very blonde type of cupcake. This is just a little bit darker because of that nutty earthiness of the pistachio and then the acetylpyrazine as well. It's also slightly drier. Again, probably courtesy of the pistachio, but I don't mind that. It's creamy enough. It's not a dry mix. It's just a little bit drier than the previous one, which was extremely creamy. But this one works great. The LA cream cheese icing and the meringue and super sweet combined to give you again that very nice, fluffy, sweet, rich kind of frosting on top of the cheesecake, at least on top of the cupcake. So again, a mix that absolutely nails the profile of a cupcake, gets the balance right, the pistachio and the cupcake and the frosting elements all there, all nicely balanced, all tangible in the mix. You can taste each different element. There's separation between them, but the whole concept hanging together very well as a vape. Again, because pistachio is kind of not an all-day vape for me, this would kind of be a vape for half an hour at a time type of mix, and I put it away, and maybe a little bit later in the day vape it again. I find pistachio a little bit too demanding to be an all-day vape, but it's used really well here. It's subtle. It's well balanced. It adds to the texture and the taste of the cupcake base. It offsets the frosting very, very well. So again, a subtle, balanced, tasty mix that hits the spot, does what it says on the tin, and recommended that you mix this up if you're into cupcakes or bakeries in general, and pistachio in particular. So once again, a tip of the banger from me, and thank you for eaching 6 Strings 952.
Okay, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Just wanted to thank everybody that's been hanging out and chat with us. It's awesome reviewing these recipes, checking them out, and seeing what works for us and what doesn't. Thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been giving. Now that we're talking about support, check out the Kindground link in the description below. You will find a GoFundMe there. That's for Kindground, his support. He's currently dealing with esophageal cancer, and we've got an opportunity to support him. So go ahead and do that. A couple of channels that I want to shout out is Stephen and Aaron. Stephen's got a new YouTube channel. Please look in the description of this video and you will find the link to that YouTube channel. Good luck, guys. Good luck. I'll be supporting you guys. Also, Stephen and Aaron are running a Down the Rabbit Hole show now on Mixing in the Kitchen's Facebook page. So go and check that out. There's also another page. I don't want to start too much hype, but it's Nick Evans and Tammy's page. I think it's going to be called Homegrown Alchemy. So just keep your eye out for that. Some interesting stuff happening there, and good luck to you guys as well. I wish you guys many subscribers, many laughs, and many likes. Daytime Frank, go and check out his YouTube channel and Facebook group, Mixing It in the Kitchen. Fresh 03, dude, thank you for all your support and all your motivation. Go and join his channel. This is pretty much it's called for me now, to be in chat on his shows, or the ones that I can join where he's live. Then DIY Down Under, go and check out their Facebook page, Developed. Go and check out their YouTube page, and Mixin' Vixens, guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget, tomorrow we have a roast on with McMod RN, Mary Beth, IDTNT, and Jennifer Winstead, from Flavor Pro and Mixin' Vixens. Yes. So yeah, guys, join us tomorrow. Don't forget, it's going to be around lunchtime in the US. It's going to be around 4 o'clock, I would say, in the UK, and 5 o'clock in South Africa. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and hope to see you guys tomorrow, and then have an awesome week if we don't. Cheers, guys.